All right, so Mel Robbins' a new book, The Let Them Theory. It's like everywhere right now, topping all the bestseller lists, glowing reviews from Oprah Daily. It feels like everybody's talking about it. What's got people so hooked?
Well, the core message is deceptively simple. Just those two words, let them. It's all about, well, how much other people's opinions and all their expectations have a grip on us. And Robbins argues that that's the real key. Unlocking more happiness, more success, maybe even love.
Okay. Hey, bookworms. Welcome back to Book Peer, the podcast where we dive headfirst into the freshest releases. I'm Paul.
And I'm Alice, and we're so stoked to share our thoughts on some seriously exciting new reads. Get ready for honest reviews, lively debates, and maybe even a few surprises. Let's get reading.
I'm intrigued, but who exactly is this book speaking to? Is it like for everyone, or is there a specific person who would benefit the most from it?
Well, from all the reviews that I've seen, it seems to be hitting home really strongly with people feeling stuck, overwhelmed in their lives, the ones who are always looking for validation from other people, struggling with boundaries, letting outside pressures kind of dictate their choices.
So you mentioned boundaries. That really makes me think of, that classic people pleaser personality type. Are they the ones that are like really flocking to this book?
Oh, absolutely. People pleasers often find themselves overcommitted, resentful, feeling taken advantage of. The book seems to give them a framework, a way to recognize their own needs and actually prioritize their own well-being without all that guilt.
So it's almost like a permission slip to stop putting everyone else first all the time.
Exactly. And beyond just the people pleasers, it's attracting people who feel stifled, by maybe societal expectations or judgments from their family, their friends. They're really yearning to break free from all those constraints and define their own path.
Okay, so we've kind of established who this book might resonate with.
Yeah.
But what about the actual content of it? What are the big pros that reviewers are highlighting about this?
Well, one of the biggest draws seems to be just Robbins's writing style. It's very straightforward. There's no jargon. She really cuts through all the complexity that you often find in these self-help books and delivers her message in a really clear, relatable way, using stories, anecdotes from her own life to illustrate the concepts.
Okay, so that makes it much more accessible, especially for people who might be new to this type of personal development work. But is it all just anecdotes, or is there some real substance behind this theory?
Actually, the book is really grounded in research from a whole bunch of fields like psychology, neuroscience. It also draws inspiration from ancient philosophies like Stoicism, which really emphasizes focusing on what we can control and accepting what we can't.
Oh, okay. So there's a historical, like philosophical backbone to these seemingly simple ideas.
Exactly. And for those unfamiliar with Stoicism, it's an ancient Greek philosophy that emphasizes virtue and reason and living in accordance with nature.
That makes a lot of sense, given the book's focus on letting go of those things that are outside of our control.
Precisely. Now, beyond the research and all the relatable stories, reviewers also consistently praised the book for being practical. It's not just about some abstract concepts. Robbins really offers actionable steps, tools for implementing the let them theory in all these different areas of life, like your work, your relationships, and setting goals.
See, that's often what separates, a good self-help book from a great one.
Exactly. And the reviews really suggest that this one delivers on that. People are coming away feeling empowered, motivated to actually make real changes after reading it. There's a sense of, I got something real out of it. It's not just a, fleeting feel-good moment.
That's promising.
Yeah.
But it's hard to imagine a book with no downsides. What are some of the criticisms that reviewers have raised?
One thing is that some of the content may feel a little familiar, especially for people who are already, pretty well versed in Stoic philosophy or other self-help principles. There's even a poem called Let Them, that predates this book, and some argue that it echoes a lot of the same ideas.
So for those that are, deep into Stoicism already, this might not be groundbreaking, but could it still offer maybe like a fresh perspective or a new way of applying those familiar concepts?
Potentially. It depends on the reader. Some might find value in Robbins' modern take on these timeless principles. Others might find it repetitive. And while the book is really popular, some reviewers said it was kind of a drag at times, lacking that captivating storytelling or those aha moments that they were hoping for.
So mixed opinions on the writing style, despite its simplicity.
Not necessarily mixed on the writing style itself, which is generally praised for its clarity, but more on the overall reading experience. Some found it empowering, really insightful, while others felt it lacked a certain spark, a certain originality. Now, speaking of mixed opinions,
Let's talk about the audiobook. I've heard Robbins can be like a very dynamic speaker.
oh yeah, that she is. And the audiobook reviews, they kind of reflect that dichotomy. Some listeners absolutely loved her delivery. They found it engaging, motivating, almost like having a personal pep talk from Mel Robbins herself.
Oh, it's like having a motivational coach right in your earbuds. But what about those that didn't love it?
Oh, there are definitely those who found her tone to be a bit much, describing it as aggressive or even off-putting. It seems that her energetic style may not resonate with everyone.
So it's a bit of a gamble there. You might love it. You might need to stick to the physical book.
Exactly. It comes down to personal preference.
Okay, so we've covered the target audience. We've got the big pros and cons.
Yeah.
We talked about the writing style, the research backing it, and even the mixed reviews on the audiobook. But something I'm curious about.
You know, the book seems to focus so much on that external validation. It really got me thinking about this idea of letting go, but as it relates to our own internal critic, you know?
Well, that's interesting. Like the critic that we all kind of carry around in our heads.
Yeah. Exactly. So often we are our own harshest judges. We hold ourselves back with all these doubts, all these fears, constantly comparing ourselves to others and then berating ourselves for every perceived failure.
It's like we're giving ourselves the side eye constantly, even when nobody else is watching.
Precisely. And that internal chatter, it can be incredibly damaging, often more so than any external criticism that we might face.
So let them isn't just about, silencing the noise from other people, but also quieting that inner voice, that voice of self-doubt.
Exactly. It's about giving ourselves permission to be imperfect, to make mistakes, to grow and evolve without that constant burden of self-judgment.
Oh, I love that. It's almost like applying, those same principles of acceptance, of non-attachment that we use for like external pressures to our own internal
structure. It is. And that brings up a point that Robbins really emphasizes is that when we waste energy on things we just can't control, like other people's opinions or our own past mistakes, we deplete our reserves, for what really matters.
It's like we're leaking energy instead of directing it towards our goals, our passions, the relationships that actually nourish us.
Exactly. And by letting go of that need for constant approval, both internal and external, we actually free up all that energy to really pursue what truly aligns with our values and our aspirations.
Robbins actually gives a really specific example of this in the book, suggesting this like mental stop sign technique to actually halt those negative thought spirals. It's about consciously recognizing those destructive thought patterns and then choosing to redirect our attention to something more empowering.
That's a great example of the kind of the actionable advice that this book offers. It's not just theory. It's about actually giving people practical tools that they can use to make real changes in their lives.
It really makes you wonder, like, if we can truly master this art of letting go, both internally and externally, what could we actually accomplish?
It's a powerful question, Imagine all the energy and the creative potential that would be unleashed if we weren't constantly bogged down by self-doubt and that need to please everyone around us.
Yeah, it's almost like a mental decluttering process, You clear out the junk, the negative self-talk, the limiting beliefs, the fear of judgment, and it creates space for something new to actually emerge.
That's a fantastic analogy. It's like creating fertile ground for our authentic selves to really flourish. And this actually ties back to a point that we touched on earlier about how the book also explores how we can actually apply the let them theory to navigate this, this digital age that we live in.
Yes, the constant barrage of social media, the pressure to present this perfect online persona, the fear of missing out. It's a whole other level of external validation seeking.
Exactly. And Robbins really digs into how we can use these same principles to set healthy boundaries with technology, to curate our online experiences, more mindfully, and to resist that urge to compare ourselves to all the often curated lives that we see on social media.
It's about recognizing that what we see online is often just this carefully constructed highlight reel and not a reflection of actual reality.
Precisely. And by letting go of that need to keep up with, with the digital Joneses, so to speak, we can actually free ourselves to really focus on what truly matters in our own offline lives.
It sounds like there's a lot to unpack here, both in terms of the external pressures we face and the internal battles that we kind of wage with ourselves. It's not just about ignoring everything. It's about discerning what deserves our attention and what we can safely let go of.
Absolutely. Discernment is key. It's about choosing what we hold dear and investing our energy there.
Now, one thing I haven't heard much about in the reviews is how this theory might actually play out differently for people with different personality types.
That's a fascinating point. You're right. Some people are naturally more inclined to, just let things roll off their back.
While others take everything so personally,
Mhm.
they internalize every criticism, they dwell on every perceived slight.
Exactly. So it would make sense that the book's effectiveness might vary, depending on someone's natural disposition.
Maybe those that are already, fairly detached and independent might not find it as groundbreaking, while those that, struggle with people pleasing or overthinking might find it more transformative.
That's a great point. It would be interesting to hear from readers with different personality types about their experiences with applying the let them theory to their own lives.
Perhaps that's something that our listeners can kind of reflect on as they explore the book themselves.
As always, you can find links to purchase the book we're discussing today in the description below. What resonates with them? Where do they feel resistance? And how can they actually adapt the principles to fit their own unique circumstances?
It's almost like a choose your own adventure approach to personal development.
Because ultimately the power of any self-help tool lies in its ability to meet us where we are and guide us towards a more empowered and fulfilling life.
It seems like the let them theory is doing just that for a lot of people right now, offering this framework for letting go of what's holding them back and really stepping into their full potential.
It's a reminder that we always have a choice to cling to what's not serving us or to let go and embrace what's possible.
And that choice, that act of letting go can be profoundly liberating.
Now, you mentioned earlier that you were curious about something.
Yes, we've talked a lot about letting go of the negative, other people's opinions, self-criticism, things we can't control. But what about the flip side of that?
What do you mean?
Are there things that we should actually be holding on to more tightly? Things that deserve our unwavering attention and commitment?
That's a great question. And it's something that we'll explore as we wrap up our look at the let them theory.
So it feels like we've been talking about letting go of a lot of things, which is great. But doesn't there come a point where we need to hold on tight to certain things?
Oh, you've hit on a crucial point, really. The let them theory it's not about just becoming detached from everything, It's a lot more nuanced than that.
Right. It's not like we should just let go of our core values or the people that genuinely support us and inspire us, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's really about finding a balance, a mindful awareness of what deserves our energy and what's honestly best left behind. Discernment is really key.
So we're letting go of the things that drain us, that hold us back, or that no longer serve us, but then intentionally holding on to the things that fuel us, that give us strength, that align with our truest selves.
Precisely. And there's another really fascinating aspect to this whole letting go process. When we release our grip on what we can't control, we actually create space for something new to come in.
Oh, like what kinds of things?
Well, think of it like decluttering a physical space, When you clear out all the clutter, then you can see what you really have, what you need, and what you might want to bring into your life.
So by letting go of mental and emotional clutter, we might uncover some hidden strengths, passions, or even a clearer sense of purpose. Like those things were kind of buried under all the stuff.
Exactly. And it connects back to what we were saying about self-criticism, and by letting go of those negative self-beliefs, we might actually discover this wellspring of creativity, resilience, and even self-love that was always there. just waiting to be unearthed.
It's not just about letting go to get rid of things. It's about making space for the good stuff to come through.
Yeah, it's about creating the conditions for our authentic selves to really blossom, unburdened by all the weight of external expectations and internal judgments.
So maybe the let them theory is as much about letting us be who we truly are as it is about letting them be who they are.
That's a beautiful way to put it, really. It's about giving ourselves permission to shine, to embrace our imperfections, to live a life that feels true to us, not to someone else's script.
And that brings us back to those things that we should be holding on to. Maybe it's our core values, our passions, the people who uplift and inspire us, the activities that bring us joy and a sense of purpose.
It's about recognizing what truly matters and making a conscious choice to invest our energy there. By letting go of the things that don't align with our values, we free up more time, more energy, more attention for the things that do.
This has been such an insightful exploration of the let them theory. We've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
From the book's target audience and its pros and cons to the practical applications of the theory and the potential benefits of letting go of both external and internal pressures.
And we've delved into the importance of discernment, of choosing what we hold on to and what we release to create a life that feels authentic and aligned with our truest selves.
So to our listeners, we encourage you to pick up the let them theory and just see what resonates with you. What do you need to let go of to create space for the things that truly matter? What do you need to hold on to more tightly?
Remember, it's a journey of self-discovery, and there's no right or wrong way to approach it. The key is to be honest with yourself, to be compassionate with yourself, and to trust that you have the wisdom to navigate this path.
And as always, we're here to support you on that journey.
Thanks for hanging out with us on Book Peer. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for more bookish discussions, and let us know what you thought in the comments below. See you next time.